Hello, good afternoon and welcome to PMeVIDYA channel. I am with you, Dharmendra Singh. This session is a Sahyog initiative of Ministry of Education for psychosocial support and mental well-being of students, where we talk about. So let me introduce the topic of discussion of today's session, which is dealing with addiction while using digital devices. How to use digital devices and why this session is going to be very relevant because of these kind of situation where we had been through, or else we are going to be face, or else we are facing all together. So we are going to discuss all these things simultaneously. I would have 4 or 5 questions to be discussed about, so I will take as an issue. I've got a couple of experts as well to talk about more on this. So related to this, if you have any query, you may get back to us on our telephone number. You may see on your television screen 8800440559. This is the telephone number. If you come across with any query, do not hesitate to give us a call. So I will share this question or your issue to our experts, so you will get a proper answer with the help of this session. Top of that, you may send your questions, your suggestions through mail as well on official mail ID of Sahyog, which is sahyog.ncrt@cit.nic.in. To watch this session live, you may tune in PMeVIDYA channel from 6 to 12, as this session is highlighted for the class 6 to 12. So you may tune in PMeVIDYA channel number 6 and 12, and also you may watch this session live on NCERT official YouTube. Now it's time to introduce our experts, both the panelists. First, I would like to introduce Professor Mansi Goswami, and she is joining us from Department of Educational Psychology and Foundation of Education, RIE, Bhubaneswar. I welcome you, Professor Goswami.
Good afternoon to all my viewers. In fact, today's topic of discussion is digital addiction.
Absolutely.
So we are very much familiar with this term addiction. So addiction is what? Addiction is a condition.
Ma'am, before we talk about the addictions, let me introduce another guest of today's discussion, Ms. Devi Mehta Saha. She is a practicing counselor. She is also joining us. I welcome you, Ms. Saha.
Good evening, sir, and namaste to all the viewers. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. So, Professor Goswami, we all need to understand what is digital addiction. What does it mean, and why we are facing these kind of challenges? Is it going to be any challenges? First, we need to understand that thing as well. And how many types it has got? So, what are the types of digital addiction? So, simultaneously, we need to understand both the things in a quick manner. What is the meaning of addiction, and also the types of addictions?
Okay, thank you very much. So as I was talking about, this addiction is a very common term. We are very much familiar with this term, but the term is nothing but it is a condition. It is a condition in which a person is unable to stop using a substance, and that substance may be anything. That substance may be a TV, maybe a smartphone, or any drugs, alcohol. So there is a very fine line between the excessive dependence and addiction. So if I be more precise and comprehensive, so I will define this digital addiction in this way, that developing a compulsive need to use your digital devices to the extent that it interferes your life and it stops doing things that you want to do, then I will call it that this is a hallmark of your addiction. When you think that you are not judiciously using these digital devices, which is not making you productive, which affects your mental and physical health, then you will have to understand that you have become addict to these devices. Now, these types of addiction, particularly we can categorize these types of addiction, digital addiction, in 3 categories, 3 types I would say. One is your phone addiction. Second one is your social media addiction. Third one is your internet addiction. Now this phone addiction, let me explain you one by one. This phone addiction, this is actually a dependence syndrome. You are so heavily dependent on this, your mobile phone, smartphone, telephone, that you don't want to get away from your devices even for a minute. 24/7 you want that phone should be with you. Then you will have to be sure that you are getting more and more addicted towards your phone. It affects the daily lives and it affects negatively the well-being of the person. Now, particularly school students are much vulnerable for these types of addiction because they at that age, particularly I'm talking about the high school students, they don't know how judiciously they can use this telephone. And nowadays, because of the online classes and educational informational pretext, so everybody, each student from rural to urban, most of the students are having their smartphones, mobile phones. So this is actually this phone dependency or this phone addiction is a clinical dependence. Clinical because it is related to what results from underlying behavioral health issues and personality issues. So if you analyze those who are phone addict, you will find that they suffer from anxiety, they must be having underlying personality issues, they may be having the issues of depression or socially challenged personality. These three categories of people usually they fall victim of these types of phone addiction. Now these clinical causes like anxiety, depression, socially challenged personality, these types of things that compel them to use this phone again and again, continuously, constantly to get some comforts. But instead of getting comforts, they add, again it is a cumulative effect, they add more anxiety, more depression, more loneliness, isolation, all these types of things get added. Then again they use more. So this becomes a cumulative effect and life becomes really very distressed. They instead of getting comforts, peace, they are pushed to some very difficult situation. And these types of students in the classroom, if my teachers, they may be knowing who are handling these types of students in a class, they might have noticed, because finding out or notice some students who are having these types of addiction is very, very important. So they are very dull, they are inactive, inattentive and irresponsible, they are restless, impatient, they become impatient, so that when the class will be over, so that they can go and touch their mobile phone. So they eagerly wait that when the class will be over, so they can again use their telephone, their mobile phone. If by chance they forget to bring their phone or leave behind the phone, or they are not permitted to bring the phone to the school, they become very aggressive, they become restless, they become unstable, they don't concentrate on the classroom teaching. And they become very impulsive, they lose control over their behaviors. So these are the symptoms, these are one way to identify that if some students are behaving like this, that there may be one of the cause may be that they are too much addicted towards their mobile phone. Now, one more thing, that last 2 years, because of the COVID pandemic, we have brought our classroom inside our telephone, inside our mobile phone. So, otherwise, now the entire classroom is inside their phone. So they sometimes, some students find it's more comfortable to attend a class through mobile phone. So now it has become a problem that how these students, they have started using the online class. They don't want to learn from the teachers, from parents, from books, from library. For every other thing, for a simple thing, for a trivial thing, they will open their mobile phone. Now, they engage themselves so much with this mobile phone that they forget their eating, sleeping, playing, the other outside things, they forget. They become very impulsive. So, in that way, that again invites the health hazards. That again invite their health hazards. They become malnutritious, the shortage of their food, shortage of their sleep, shortage of their outdoor games. All these things get accumulated, and again they become more anxious, they become more restless, they become very sick also. So, you see, a simple addiction to a mobile phone can bring so much of distress. Not only that, so much of prolonged exposure to a screen. Think about the eyes, that for such a long hour, if our high school students, they will be looking the screen, which has some radiation also, then that becomes definitely acute health problem. So in the school students, this eye problem has really increased after this mobile phone or online classes have started. So this is about this phone addiction. Now come to the social media addiction. Social media addiction is very easy to define because we all know this to social media, that if a student or a people or a person is using or spending much more hour in Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, then we call that he or she is a social media addict. Now these types of people or students, they wish to document all aspects of their lives on all or any of these platforms. So if you analyze their life, you'll definitely find they are not very satisfied, not very contented, and not very happy in their real life. That is why when they post something in the social media, they want instant gratification. They want reinforcement of likes. They are after posting something, either video or audio or any article, any pic, they impatiently they wait for the likes. If they don't get, they become disheartened. So I say that these types of students, they lack one thing. They don't have the power of self-evaluation, self-appreciation, and self-assessment. Whatever they post, they wait that others will certify that one. Why the students itself or the person itself will not think that yes, it is my creation. I have taken this pic, so it will be beautiful. So everything depends on the certification or likes of the other. So it is called reward seeking attitude. For everything you want a reward, you want some appreciation. If you don't get the appreciation, you lose interest in your own work. Now whatever good work it is, so all your good work, all your beautiful work, endeavor, perseverance, it goes waste if somebody does not give a life. So it becomes disheartened, it be depressed, lose control over their behavior, lose interest on doing something more productive. So these are very common symptoms and common features of social media addiction.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's 16 minutes have gone, ma'am. I will come back to you again, but thank you so much while indicating such kind of issues while if we are addicting with the social media devices or the electrical digital devices. But yes, we are helplessness because we have no other choice. If we need to conduct online classes, then we need to take the help of these digital devices. But yes, what kind of precautions we can use to handle all this? Still, we have some time to discuss more on this. Thank you so much. I'll come back to you again, Professor Goswami. Now, what is your response? Ms. Saha, because digital addiction is not going anywhere, students are doing a lot of things with these devices. So as I just mentioned that we have no choice at all to get rid of. So how students should attend all these online stuff, online classes if they are using these digital devices? So what's your views on it?
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful question. This is a very viable question as in today's times, Internet is a very crucial tool as per academics is concerned. And as we all know, the recent COVID-19 pandemic situation has resulted into a paradigm shift from the physical classrooms to the online learning. As we know, virtual schooling has increased in such a way that it has resulted in digital addiction among students. Now, online classes, they are doing the classes, but at the same time, we cannot prevent the students from not using the gadgets or the digital devices. They are much prone to use the digital devices. No doubt that their screen time has increased. They sit in front of the computer or in front of the telephone or in front of the phone and they are hooked onto the screen. When even the online classes are going on, at the backdrop itself, what we notice as teachers is that the students, they are continuously, either they are chit-chatting with their fellow friends or they are in the social media performing their task. Because they are engrossed into the virtual platform, because they are engrossed into the virtual world, they do not find any sort of comparison. They are unable to differentiate between the real world and the digital world. They feel that their periphery of life lies within the virtual world. As in the case, what we see is that in the virtual world itself, the children, they feel that they are much more attached to the virtual world. Their fellow friends over there, they prefer, instead of talking over the telephone, instead of promptly responding over the telephone, they prefer chit-chatting with their friends. They prefer messaging because they think that they can analyze, they can reply, they can think deeply, and then they can message it to their friends. And as Madam has also correctly pointed out that how these devices, they are creating a lacuna in their academics also. That is a gap that we find, this digital devices is creating a lacuna within the students also. There is a gap that is there already created. Because of this pandemic situation, no wonder that using of the digital mode of learning has really done wonders. But at the same time, what we find is that it is also creating some increased hazards to the children. The children, they are unable to control it. The children, they are unable to understand or differentiate between how do I use the digital devices in a proper manner and how not to get entangled in this virtual world. So that's what I need to say, sir, with regard to the question that you have.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on this. Okay, still we have got few times left now. Well, Professor Goswami, how to deal with digital addiction? We all came to know about this situation. We all came to know about the problems. Now it's $1 million question. How to deal with? Do we have anything else to stop all this immediately?
Yes, I hope Devasmita has already explained the internet addiction that is linked to this addiction to the virtual world. That is very nicely she has explained. No, I just want to tell how to deal with this situation. Yes, very rightly you have said we need these devices, but there is a limit. That is how judiciously we can use this one. So in a controlled manner. So this controlled manner or judicious use of this mobile phone, I will call it a digital diet. So we'll have to follow a digital diet. So we should not be very tempted to keep our mobile for all 24/7 with us. I'm talking for the students and for everybody. So try to put away or keep yourself away from mobile phone for some hours of the day. So that habit will keep you, it will not make you an addict. So that you will not feel tempted to use this phone. Now, I will ask the teachers also that when they give some homework, some project work, some task to the students, don't ask them that you go and search the net. So give them such type of task where they can see the real object, they can draw some drawings of the real object, not taking pictures or images from the net. So we have given excessively, we are using the net information. So this is, we can control. This is not that we cannot control it. It can be controlled. Now, this is when these online classes have started in India, or I will say this has imposed because of the pandemic. Neither India, nor our society, nor school, nor students, nor parents were ready for this types of things. So all these mobile phones our students are using, that should be students friendly. That should be appropriate to their age. So do you think so many features, so many apps, is it required for the students who are using this mobile phone for their online classes? So we'll minimize the use of these apps. We'll remove those apps which are not required. We'll remove those features which are not required, and access to all information to students should be limited. They should not, because they sometimes, in pretext of using online, they can go, that is the age of temptation, they can go to visit some objectionable site, or they may be hooked themselves, glued themselves for some other information entertainment channels. So another main work is that, so don't always ask some students to type it and submit it. So let there be handwritten script for project. So hand drawn graphs, figures, drawings for the project or any other thing related to academics. Now, one more thing, that identifying these symptoms also. We have to be very careful now when the students are a prolonged exposure to the online classes. So these teachers will have to be very, very careful that they will have to identify the symptoms. Symptoms are, they should also learn what are the symptoms. There are 9 symptoms in a psychologically, in the global way. They have identified 9 symptoms in the high school students that can be identified, that need to be identified to check this addiction. These are all usual symptoms like depression, anxiety, then obsession, feeling critical. All these things are there. So one thing is that things are there, symptoms are there. Only thing that we'll have to identify them at right time, and we'll have to help the students, help the parents. Even I would like to say that the digital literacy of parents are also very, very essential. You see, now everywhere you will find, even the village also you will find the children are using smartphones. Their parents, illiterate parents, they have given them. They don't know how to monitor, how to supervise, how to guide them. Rather, they are sometimes dependent on the child for any digital transaction. So another thing, that this is the age where these things should be very limited. The students community, they are finding this online food, online online marketing, online games, online gambling. So I feel that somewhere we'll have to draw some limit, and we'll have to design such types of phones which are students friendly and appropriate to that age. So that can only check this addiction processes.
Right.
I hope.
Yes, absolutely, Professor Goswami, you have enlightened us such a beautiful, in such a beautiful way. Yes, you have mentioned time limit we need to draw. Actually, when we will came to know that yes, we need to use these devices at least for half an hour or 1 hour or so. So at least we would have that prior plan in ready to follow. So that's how you will escape these kind of monotonous whatever you are having, whatever we have faced so far. It's also cause for physical and mental damages, so you can avoid these kind of damages while using this kind of plan. Now quickly, Ms. Saha, we need to understand few more things from you. We have only 3 minutes left now. We always talk about some behavioral problems as well, so related to this digital addiction. So could you please share few examples of this behavioral problems? What are these actually, and what significance it has got if you talk about the social link quickly in 2 minutes?
Yes, sir. Definitely, when we are talking about digital addiction, digital addiction is a necessary evil. At one time, we required this virtual world, we required the internet, we required the digital connectivity. But at the same time also, it is creating some sort of hazardous things in our day-to-day life. And this is one of the major concerns in the households of India. So when we are talking about digital addiction, there are certain behavioral problems that we do notice, and we take care of all these things. What are these behavioral problems that we need to figure out, that we actually can understand, okay, so I am digitally addicted. Now you will find that several students, they are hooked onto the screen, and whenever they wait for the notifications, they wait for the chats. Whenever there is a chat, they immediately feel the compulsion to go and respond to it. They have this compulsive behavior. They want to do it immediately. They do not wait. And due to this, there is lack of sleep. Even their hygiene and health, both are, at a cost. They have to suffer. That is the thing that is happening in day-to-day life. Living within the comforts of the virtual world, living within the comforts of home and doing the online classes has created this problem that their sitting posture is also not correct. They are comfortable, they are relaxed within the house. And this is also a point that we need to take care of. Sometimes we also need to plan up our study time or time monitoring plan we need to devise, so that the behaviors that we have within us, that doesn't come out. At the same time, you will also notice that at times students, they are becoming anxious, they are becoming worried. They get distressed and disheartened when they are unable to get the gratitude, as Mansi Madam has pointed out, because they perform, they are, they are posting something, they are posting some article, they are posting some video, and they want spontaneous likes, which they are unable to get. So this, I think, are some of the behavioral problems. But yes, with a better hope, we can always say that it can be controlled. I think the students, they should really learn the technique of self-control. They need to adapt to the controlling mechanics that is required to lead a healthy life. And with this, I think that students will be able to come out from this digital addiction.
Absolutely, which is not a difficult task to do. If you will follow these kind of advices, you will definitely able to overcome all these kind of problems without wasting too much of time. Well, I must appreciate the time of both of yours. So thank you so much, both the experts, for your time, and thank you so much for joining with us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And thank you all the viewers for watching this program. And tomorrow we will be having another topic. Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Another topic of discussion. So till then, what you need to do, you just need to watch PMeVIDYA channel. Keep watching, keep learning, and keep smiling. Thank you so much for today.